Ahoy folks, Craigo here from Pure Xbox, because in this video, oh boy, in this video, we're gonna share our review of the open world fantasy RPG, Dragon's Dogma 2. Before we get going, this review was written by PJ O'Reilly for PureXbox.com and turned into a video by me, who is unfortunately a bit poorly today, so please forgive my sick person voice. Hopefully I just sound hot instead, or something like that. Alrighty then, let's go.
Welcome, Arisen.
Right where it hurts.
Watch out! A foe is coming for you, Arisen!
Was during a routine outing to harvest worm-life crystals from a drake near Shuttram Falls just north of Bak Batal that we first realized just how down bad we are for everything Dragon's Dogma 2 has been chucking in our general direction over the past week or so. This particular routine outing, you see, ended in Fantasista, our strongest sorcerer class pawn, accidentally chucking herself off a cliff. An action which caused her to plummet several hundred feet before smashing her face on a dusty boulder below. Not the best tactic when stalking our toughest draconic victim yet, but that's our Fantasista for you.
Thank you, Master. I only hope I did not disappoint.
Now, normally under such circumstances, and especially considering Fantasista is not a real person with feelings, we'd have not a thought of leaving the great big oaf to die slowly in her own face juices. However, Dragon's Dogma 2 is different. You see, the pawns here, the stars of this particular show, are so incredibly well melded and molded into every facet of the game. They are so well acted and written, so helpful and kind, useful in battle and ever graceful in their offers to lead the way, that we've fallen head over heels in love with the lot of them.
My kind is duty-bound to serve you, Arisen, and to use the knowledge we glean in these distant worlds to your benefit.
This sequel, what is actually more of a remake as it turns out, sees players once again assume the role of the Arisen, your stereotypical amnesiac protagonist who must set out on an epic adventure to answer the call of an ancient dragon, whilst also dealing with pretenders to the crown, angry dogs, trolls, griffins, dragons, and the fact that they can't own a mount or fast travel around the world map willy-nilly. It's pretty intense being special. Now, the good thing about having an amnesiac protagonist is we don't feel the need to spend a whole bunch of time regurgitating facts that we've googled about the original Dragon's Dogma, which is a win for everyone. However, for those of you who didn't play it and need to know something, well, it's a highly entertaining and unique action-focused RPG that attained cult status thanks to some amazing ideas with the pawns, satisfying combat, and an incredible atmosphere. It's a 12-year-old game so good it still manages to knock your socks off despite technical issues and the natural ravages of time, such as the quality of its exquisitely crafted world, lore, and characters. Oh, and because of the pawns, you could say we have a pawn addiction. Yeah, I'm definitely still ill. Pawns are what makes this series tick, for those not fully in the know. They basically act as an endless supply of party members that you can call forth from magic rifts dotted across the world. Each pawn specializes in a specific vocation, with a choice between your usual fighters, mages, archers, and stealth-focused thieves before flashier roles begin to unlock later down the line. They're willing to do anything for their beloved Arisen, this lot, and they'll happily march to their permadeaths for you if you so require it. They also have distinct personality types, mild-mannered, calm, hot-headed, and so on. And as you meet them, they'll explain the other perks they hope to bring to the table, such as improved defense, party healing, stronger attacks, soaking up punishment, etc, etc, etc.
I have a modest talent for spotting materials that can be used to enhance your equipment. I can even mark them on your map.
In Dragon's Dogma 2, you can also add various behavioral aspects to the mix as the game progresses, and these can be both beneficial and negative, depending on how the pawn chooses to act as a result. An example of this would be augmenting a pawn's behavior to let them use all of your gathered ingredients as they see fit. Handy in a pinch and saves you the hassle, but do you trust them to do a good job and have the potions that you want when you need them?
You look upon me so expectantly. Are we acquainted?
In short, this game's pawns are just very good at pretending to be real. Their AI in battle, as well as with regards to pathfinding and item collection, is excellent. And as a result, you get to go off on these amazing adventures and genuinely feel like you're on an expedition with a bunch of likable friends in tow. It's this vibe, this getting to know each other, overcoming obstacles, suffering painful and permanent losses, and all of the other fun customizations, creativity, and other stuff that goes along with it. There are also amazing player-made character creations in the Rift to party up with that makes this such a unique and joyous thing.
I am confident and may act independently.
As you set out across the map here, a map that's apparently some 3 or 4 times bigger than the last outing, new players may find themselves a little surprised by just how involved and alert you need to be a lot of the time. This isn't the sort of RPG that wants to hold your hand or let you turn off your brain entirely. It's fairly tough. Enemies will mess you up en masse if you let them, and the environments are designed to slow your momentum right down. Hideaki Utsuno has gone on record to say that he hasn't put mounts or free-to-use fast travel into the game because it's jam-packed full of stuff that you just don't want to miss. Whilst normally that kind of pre-release patter can be safely ignored, man's got a game to sell, and this time it just so happens to be true.
Splendid.
It's a refreshing change of pace, a blessing even, that we can't zoom around on a horse in a more traditional RPG style, instead relying on a threadbare network of ox carts and a returning system of expensive ferry stones and portals that make fast travel prohibitive enough that you'll have to factor it into your plans. And really, a little planning is the crux of this whole endeavor. It's what makes it all sing. Hire some hard-ass pawns, ensure they have the gear they need, cover all class types to give you maximum choices during scraps, but also remember to factor in the time and energy spent making your way to a location. The world is dangerous, mysterious, and full of unknown foes. One does not simply walk into Mordor and all that jazz. If you don't sleep and then take damage from attacks, you'll lose chunks off your health bar until you fully rest. So hitting the hay becomes essential, as there is an order to be adhered to. Adventurers must pay attention when setting up their camp spots. It is really that sort of thing. Knowing where the nearest inn is, having the funds for a bed or for the weapons and gear you'll need to venture onwards. Keeping the crew on top form and ready to lash out across a gritty fantasy world, a world that errs delightfully on the side of dirty realism. You genuinely never know what's around the next rain-soaked, blood-caked corner. And so, suddenly, we're back in the good old days of being entirely lost in a big old fantasy quest. We're no longer mindlessly galloping around a stupidly massive and mostly empty open world, charging directly to the next campaign point without a thought in our head. We are no longer gamers, we are adventurers. Nell, where is Nell? You're supposed to be an adventure. Oh, now you're falling off cliffs too? Sheesh. Dragon's Dogma 2 has us happily taking it as it comes, chipping slowly away at this exquisitely crafted world full of magic and mystery. Of course, we're not going to ruin a single second of that magic and mystery here, but it's the stuff you do moment to moment more so even than the narrative delights. It's the fact that this world is so labyrinthian, so packed full of detail and lore, so full of majestic vistas, wondrous cities and towns. It's the truly incredible foes. Oh, and you're in for some surprises with the enemies. And loot that is actually worth hunting out. You know the sort of thing, sexy clothes, ruddy great big swords and masks with magic bits hanging off them. Stuff you actually want to find, that you rush into your inventory to equip because it looks cool. Now all of this is already very exciting, But then you get to add genuinely excellent arcade combat on top, and we've gone and got ourselves a proper Game of the Year contender for sure. The various classes you get to choose from are deliciously different in how they feel to control. We began with the Thief and their fast daggers and stealth tactics, but switching permanently to a Mystic Spearhand reveals a versatile warrior with a completely different playstyle. Mages are weak as hell when hit, but can blast huge area of effect attacks to stem the tide. Again, you'll need to figure in spell recharging and casting times. Whilst choosing to rock the archer means, well, you'd be bloody good with a bow and at dodging stuff. When each party member has a well-defined role in battle against enemies who know how to fight, when confrontations have actual tension to them as a result of this, when Madison the Sorcerer is raining magical hell down on a bunch of harpies from range, or when Nell swings a car-sized blade around her head before falling off a cliff, that's when this turns into the Dungeons & Dragons game we always dreamed of. That's when Dragon's Dogma 2 100% delivers on its remit of totally transporting you to another realm that you'll find it hard to tear yourself away from. Yes, there are some frame rate issues. You'll notice the slight drops when you hit big cities, and we know some people are already ruffled by the lack of a solid 60 FPS mode here, but honestly, we just really don't care about any of that stuff. Especially after all the emotions this game has gone and made us feel. None of the stutters we experienced were bad enough that we felt particularly bothered, and we didn't notice anything during combat, so that'll do nicely, thanks. We're sure they'll patch it down the line, but hey ho.
Well said.
These small issues aside, however, and Dragon's Dogma 2 gives you a living, breathing fantasy world in which to frolic. It treats its players with a level of respect that's sadly become less common in today's world of AAA collectathons and Battle Pass XP explosions, and it refuses to do things the easy way or give you every modern convenience you're used to. It's a game that has solid and clearly defined rules, clever AI, bespoke environs, and a real weight and heft to the physics and physicality of its setting. And out of that delicately balanced mix comes one of the most engrossing and magical RPGs that we've played in a very long time indeed. Dragon's Dogma 2 is every bit the equal of your Witcher 3s and your Elden Rings, whilst remaining entirely its own unique and beguiling thing. And to be honest, if that doesn't sell it to you, then maybe you're just more of a FIFA person. I mean, that's okay, but, you know, who knows? Dragon's Dogma fans rejoice. This second entry in the series, as much of a remake as it is a sequel, absolutely nails everything it sets out to achieve. You can feel the desire to perfect every aspect of the game that we got in 2012 here. With slicker combat, a more engaging pawn system, an incredible world stuffed full of amazing beasties, and a general vibe that just begs you to slow down, take your time, and enjoy the majestic adventure ahead. If you're in the market for a fantastic RPG with the power to fully transport you to a world of gritty fantasy and magical friends, we reckon this'll be right up your street. Now, normally it's here I'd add my own additional thoughts to PJ's review, and although I do have plenty, I've played 40 plus hours at this point, completed the game, and am now suffering from a severe case of eye strain that I've actually booked myself into Specsavers, but honestly, my voice is killing me. So all I'll say is Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be hard to beat as my personal game of the year, and this comes after the impeccable Unicorn Overlord. I will say, if you find yourself partied up with my pawn, make sure to gift her an apple before you chuck her in the brine. Remember to head on over to purexbox.com for more reviews like this one, as well as subscribing to the channel here. All that's left to say is bye-bye for now. Cheerio!
That was incredible. Never have I encountered such a strategy.